It's playoff time on the Chris and Chris Show. Don't go away.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That's right. It is playoff time. It's exciting. This is when the games matter. This is when everything changes. This is when it is so much fun to watch NHL hockey, whether your team is in the playoffs or not. Of course, in Vegas, we are fortunate that our team is in one more time to defend their Stanley Cup title. What's up, everybody? Chris Golick here and Little Chris. This is the Chris and Chris edition of Locked On Vegas Golden Knights. You already know this. It is a YouTube exclusive, but you can also catch Tony Cronasco and myself, Chris Golick, Monday through Friday on Locked On VGK, anywhere you get your podcast and on YouTube. All right, man, it's playoffs. You excited?
Yeah.
That's all you got? Yeah, just a yeah? That's all you got? Just a yeah? Are you excited? Like, why do you like watching the playoffs, buddy? What makes you excited for playoff hockey?
If you want excitement, I can do excitement. Welcome to the playoffs!
Should let you do the intro, buddy. That could have been the intro. It would have been perfect. That's okay. Well, that's okay. Next year. Or you can do welcome to round 2 to start it off. What else excites you about the playoffs? Like, why do you like watching playoff hockey instead of regular season hockey?
I just like the excitement of how loud the crowds get, and especially having a different champion every year. Like last year, Vegas won it, and this year, I hope Edmonton wins it.
Put that down. We'll talk about that later. Stop jumping the gun, buddy, on the segments. And it's not good for ratings, you saying you want Edmonton to win. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to talk about our predictions and why. It doesn't got to be a total homer perspective. I can't get my hat straight. So can I get this right? Like, I think the brim is just a little bit off. And
Next.
There we go. Good enough for me. We're leaving it like this. No, we're not. Good enough. We're just leaving it like that. Okay, there we go. The hat situation has been fixed. This is brought to you by Silver State. But no, I'm sorry. That's my company. All right, let's jump right into this right now. Let's get right into this, little man. The Golden Knights and Dallas Stars are going to meet. This will be the second time these two teams have met in the playoffs. Of course, last year the Golden Knights eliminated the Dallas Stars in 6 games en route to win the Western Conference Championship and, of course, the Stanley Cup victory shortly thereafter. Golden Knights and Stars played 3 times in the regular season. Golden Knights defeated the Stars all 3 times, albeit 2 of the games went to overtime. Those games could have gone either way, of course. Then the Golden Knights beat them 6-1 in their 3rd and final meeting back in December, I believe. First time these two teams played this season. We had some rough stuff, Chris. We had some rough stuff. So Coach Cassidy has mentioned early in the season multiple times when the Golden Knights first played the Jets, when they first played the Stars, when they played the Panthers, and when they played the Jets. I think I got all the teams in there. Oilers, pardon me. And Coach Cassidy, whether it's a subtle jab maybe or a reminder, but he always makes a point that the teams are kind of gunning for you when your team eliminated them in the previous season. And the Dallas Stars, well, that first time the Golden Knights and Stars met, you had 4 fighting majors, so 2 separate fights. Jamie Benn and Nicholas Hague went at it early in the second period that game, and then Ben Hutton and Mason Marchment dropped the gloves as well in the second period. Don't get a lot of games where there's multiple fights, but these two teams don't like each other, buddy. You think we're going to see a lot of rough stuff?
It's gonna be good. I think there's gonna be at least let's go 6. Let's go 6 1 fights in the series.
You think there's gonna be 6, so 12 fighting majors in the series? That would be basically a fight per game, or maybe 2. Hey, you never know. I mean, listen. Playoff hockey is mean. It's painful. It's painful to watch, and as painful it can be for us to watch. Imagine what it's like getting ran over by someone like a Nick Hague or a Keegan Colasar or a Jamie Benn, or in Mark Stone's case, his neck getting cross-checked by Jamie Benn. You just never know. So I want to start on the star side here. I think the most famous takeaway from the last season was Jamie Benn, Captain Jamie Benn of the Dallas Stars, getting a 2-game suspension in Game 3 for a cross-check to the head or neck area of Mark Stone. So Ben and Mark Stone kind of tangle and go down, and then just Jamie Benn, just on the way down, just a cross-check right to his head. So let me ask you a question, Chris. Do you think Jamie Benn remembers that? And when I say remembers that, do you think it bothers him as the captain that he did that and he got a 2-game suspension? Do you think that bothered him?
Well, don't forget the 2 games that he missed are the 2 games we won. So kind of yes, kind of not, because the 2 games he left are the games they won. So kind of yes, kind of no, because of that reason. I bet he doesn't want to happen again with captain contact and knocking a 2-game suspension.
So you make a good point there. So I mean, listen, Jamie Benn didn't want to get knocked out of the playoffs or get suspended in the playoffs and watches. I mean, he wants the team to win no matter what, but you have to think there's all sorts of emotions going through Jamie Benn's head as the series starts. He's the captain. He's the leader, just like Mark Stone is the Golden Knights leader. If Mark Stone did something stupid, call it what it is, to get a suspension, then that's not good for the Golden Knights. And Alex Pietrangelo almost put the Golden Knights in a similar position when he did take that suspension for trying to cut off Leon Draisaitl's hand with his hockey stick last year in the playoffs. And the Golden Knights were fortunate that did not end up costing them a loss in that series. So, you know, emotions run high, and it's almost like you need to take a number. When I say take a number, if something happens in the series, you don't necessarily want to take repercussions, get revenge right away. You wait till the regular season next year because you don't want to put your team short. Jamie Benn, where I'm going with this is I think Jamie Benn is going to end up having the best playoff series of his entire career. I just think Jamie Benn has been bothered by this through the entire offseason and leading up to the regular season. I have to think that, or leading up to the postseason, I have to think that Jamie Benn is going to make sure he is leading the Dallas Stars and doing everything he can to keep the Stars from losing. Jamie Benn, 60-point season, played all 82 games, 21 goals, 39 assists, plus 8 on the season. So Ben had a very serviceable season for a Stars team that led the Western Conference and won the Central Division. Quick look at some point totals for the team. Jason Robertson led the team, 80 points. Joe Pavelski, 67 points. Rupe Hintz, 65 points. Wyatt Johnson, 65, along with Matt Duchene. 3 players with 65 points. Jamie Benn, 60 points. We talked about that. Miro Heiskanen, 54 points as a defenseman. Goaltender Jake Ottinger is who the Golden Knights are going to have to deal with the entire series unless there's an injury. Ottinger goes 35, 14, and 4. 272 goals against average and a 905 save percentage. But he's also been he's had a very strong stretch run. So what do you think, Chris? I mean, do you think this is a weird spot for the Golden Knights right now? This is a really weird spot for the Golden Knights. Mark Stone injured 3 months. We talked about that last week. Stop it. We talked about that. Going forward, more players. Chandler Stevenson's missed the last couple of games. Anthony Mantha's missed the last couple of games. Will Carrier, Monday? That's what we're going to talk about in a second. Will Carrier is skating in a non-contact jersey along with Mark Stone. There's a practice today after we record this show, so there's probably going to be some clarity on a lot of these injuries. Alex Pietrangelo, that's the one that concerns me the most as far as players who have uncertain health situations. I think it's a foregone conclusion that everyone besides Pietrangelo is going to be good to go game one. Call it what you want. I don't care what anyone thinks. That's what the situation is right now. Pietrangelo, on the other hand, with lingering effects from COVID, I believe is what's going on. Maybe there's something else. I don't know what's going on, but point is he has missed, I want to say, 9 of the last 10 or something like that games. He'll be well rested. But if there's a respiratory thing, breathing, that's not good. That's not good. If Pietrangelo is out, Chris, how much does that hurt the Golden Knights' chances? Let's just say Pietrangelo misses 2 games. I don't know. Throw a number out there. If Pietrangelo misses 2 games, how much does that hurt the Golden Knights' chances?
I feel like 2 games in the playoffs isn't rigged.
Stop.
So I think it won't hurt us that much as like it'd be like Mark Stone, or someone big like Jack Eichel. But he is an assistant captain, former captain as the 2019 champions.
Huge.
I have no clue his history as a Blue and his injury record. So I think it won't hurt us that bad, but that bad, but it can hurt us about like losing 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and you don't want to spot any games. It's the playoffs. So the I've said it all season how small the margin of victory is, right? It's razor thin. You know, one small mistake can be the difference maker. And now in the playoffs, that's magnified 100 more times. It can be just the simplest miscue, the smallest thing. I mean, there's a lot of 1-0 and 2-1 hockey games and stuff. So, I mean, if we're spotting the Dallas Stars 2 games, that's not good. I mean, it's one thing if the Dallas Stars go out and beat the Golden Knights, but it's another thing if the Golden Knights are simply going to lose games because of Pietrangelo, a Mark Stone, you know, players along those lines are missing, which hopefully is not going to be the case. I guess the last thing we'll say is that when it comes time into the playoffs, you're not in trouble until you lose a game at home. That's just one of the – now, last year, the road teams actually fared better, but I guess that proves my point even more. You're not in trouble until you lose a game at home. The Golden Knights, if they're going to come out of the Western Conference and compete for another Stanley Cup championship in the Stanley Cup final, they're going to have to do it as the road team in all 3 of the series. And I think the Golden Knights – only way they would be the home team is if the Islanders or Capitals, I think, made the Stanley Cup final, and it was the Golden Knights in the Western Conference. We'll see, obviously, how that plays out. You never know. Golden Knights are a decent road team. They did pretty well in the playoffs last year, of course, on the road. As a road team this year, they were barely above 500, but down the stretch, they've been very good at home. So do you think the Golden Knights, Chris, they're going to start the first 2 games on the road? All they got to do is split a game, right? If they can win 1 game on the road, 1 of the 2, and then take care of business at home, everything's going to be fine. Do you think the Golden Knights have it in them to split at least the start of the series with the Stars?
I think we'll be able to pull off a game 1, but I think Dallas will come back to game 2, game 3. I think we got the rest of the games. Because one thing that I've been thinking is they have the Western President's Trophy curse.
The Western President's Trophy curse. That's pretty funny, little man. I like that. But the Golden Knights had the Western President's Trophy curse last year, and it worked out just fine. So maybe that's good luck. Yeah, Golden Knights had the best record in the West last year. But this year it's bad luck. The Western best record. At least that's what we're going to preach on this show. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I'm going to say the opposite as you, Chris. We'll talk about our predictions in a second, but I think the Golden Knights drop game 1. A lot of players just need to get reacclimated. Let's pretend for a second Stone, Pietrangelo, Stevenson, Mantha, Carrier, they all come back. It's a lot of new ingredients to this lineup who haven't seen game activity as a group in 3 months. A lot of them have missed a matter of weeks. So I think the Stars probably get there in game 1. Golden Knights get there in game 2. And then hopefully when it gets time to game 6, that's where the Golden Knights will advance. So that's our first general look at the Vegas Golden Knights and Dallas Stars series. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait for playoff hockey to start all the way on Monday, but we do have games on the weekend at least to enjoy. All right, bracket predictions time. So everybody, if you follow me on Twitter at TDChrisG, it says it on the bottom right there. And little Chris's Twitter, he doesn't have a Twitter. So if you want to jump on right now, I pinned a post on my profile. We have a bracket challenge. No prizes or anything, at least not from me, but just a little friendly competition. We can see who comes out on top of their bracket. We can chirp. We can trash talk a little bit along the way. It'll be a good time. My bracket's filled out. Chris's bracket is filled out. If you guys want to jump in, we already got 32 separate players in there. Would love to see that number just grow and grow and grow, and we'll have some fun. So me and Chris, we're going to compare our brackets right now. We're going to offer our Stanley Cup final predictions and maybe just kind of go round by round very quickly. I'm looking for my NHL app. That's why I'm looking away from the camera right now. There it is. So, all right, little buddy, let's go ahead and start talking about our brackets. Chris, first up in the Golden Knights Dallas Stars series, what do you got, buddy? You got 4-2 Vegas. I got 4-2 Vegas. We agree on that. Let's just go right past it right now. Winnipeg and the Colorado Avalanche. What do you see in that series?
I see Colorado winning the first two, but then Winnipeg forcing a game 6, and then dun dun dun.
Oh, you're going Colorado in 7. I'm going Winnipeg in 6. I think there's a lot of issues in Colorado, starting with goaltending. Georgiev, a lot of games not been good down the stretch, nor is the Avs defense. We saw that in Vegas just last week. All right, Vancouver and Nashville. What do you got?
I think Vancouver will be able to pull off 3 games, and then the Nashville will get game 4, and then Nashville will win.
We're agreeing, buddy. You're going 4-1 Vancouver. I'm going 4-1 Vancouver. Nashville, I don't believe in Nashville. I mean, I know they had a really good run. They elevated their game. It was a beautiful day as they stared at the sun and got a lot of victories when they couldn't go see U2. But yeah, that's gonna be a quick finish, I think. Vancouver and Nashville. All right, buddy. I mean, I think we know what you're gonna take in this series, but Edmonton and the LA Kings, really quickly, go.
Last year, round 1 rematch, 4-2 Edmonton.
I'm gonna go 4-3. I think the series winds up going 7 games. I think the Oilers are gonna get a wake-up call. I say wake-up call. I'm not knocking them as far as being a good team or anything like that. But I think a lot of people think the Oilers are bulletproof, and I don't think that's the case. Kings are tough. They're scrappy. Will their defense and goaltending hold up to get this to 7 games? I mean, I think it goes 7, but I'm going to take Edmonton in 7. All right, let's go to the Eastern Conference. Nice and fast, buddy. We're doing well. Florida and Tampa Bay. What do you got?
I believe Florida will pull out the first 3 games. Tampa will come back, and then we'll save the series for them.
So we got a nice 7 seed versus 2 seed upset right there, I believe. I mean, Tampa, listen, don't ever count Tampa out. They have Stanley Cup pedigree, leadership pedigree, coaching Stanley Cup pedigree, goaltending pedigree. Do they have enough in the tank to compete with Florida? I don't see it. I'm going 4-1 Florida in that series, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chris's prediction is right there. That could be an upset that a lot of people don't see coming. All right, Boston and Toronto, buddy. What do you got happening here?
4-3 Toronto. I feel like they struggled in a lot of the last seasons. I feel like they got it, and they will go on to play Tampa in round 2.
I'm gonna take the opposite. I am gonna go 4-3 Boston. Boston struggled in the first round last year. I think their coach Montgomery learned something, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, they just don't make it out of the first round. Not too often, at least. So there we go. All right, buddy. Rangers and the Caps. Rangers and the Caps. I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
I say the Caps win game 1, and then the Rangers fall off the rest. That's not what I'm going for. That's just what I think is going to happen. I don't think Washington has it.
The Caps are a nice story sneaking into the playoffs. And honestly, with, you got Tom Wilson going to be out there causing trouble. You got Ovechkin. Is Ovechkin capable of turning a series on its end like he was, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago? I don't know about that. Rangers real strong. I'm going 4-2 Rangers. The last Eastern Conference series is going to be the Hurricanes and the Islanders. Similar to the Rangers Capitals series, I think the Hurricanes are going to overpower the Islanders quickly, 4-1. What do you got in that series?
A rematch from last season for Carolina wins the first two. New York tries to bounce back. And in game 3, they won it. And then Carolina takes care of the business the rest of the time, and will play in the second round against New York.
All right, so real quick, let's pick up the pace. We're doing well, but let's go faster as we get into the second and third rounds. Rangers and the Hurricanes. Let's stay on the Eastern Conference right now. Rangers and the Hurricanes go. What do you got?
Hold on, I'm not there.
Okay,
yet.
I'll give my side first. Rangers, Hurricanes, that's going to be a really good matchup right there. The Eastern Conference in general is an absolute just cluster of really good teams. So one team has to lose, one team has to win. That's how it goes. I think the Hurricanes will beat the Rangers in a hard-fought series going 6 or 7 games. Chris, what do you got in that series?
I say the Rangers in 7. I think Carolina has it to win the first 2 games. New York wins 1, and then Carolina gets game 4, but then New York bounces back game 5, 6, 7.
All right, so let's go to Boston and Florida. I'm going to take Florida over Boston. I think Florida's on a mission this year. I really think Florida's on a mission this year. Bruins, good season, good run. But I think the Florida Panthers have improved, learned a lot, and they're going to make it to the conference final against the Hurricanes. What do you got for Boston and Florida? Or what do you got for Florida and Toronto, I believe you have, right? No, you have Tampa and Toronto. I'm sorry. What do you got?
A second, I messed up.
Okay.
I say Toronto in let's go 6. I believe they'll be able to pull out the first 2. Tampa bounces back with 1. Tampa, and Toronto wins in 6.
All right, let's keep it on the east side. Let's go all the way to the who goes make it to the Cup final. Same as I said a second ago, Panthers are going to hopefully overpower the Hurricanes and make it back to the Eastern Conference or make it back to the Stanley Cup final for 2 years in a row. You have, I believe, Toronto and is it Tampa in the conference final?
In New York. Toronto, New York.
Toronto, New York. Who's winning that series, buddy? Quickly.
I say it's going to be Toronto in 5.
Toronto in 5. All right, let's go back to the West, little man. My second round matchup is going to be Vegas and Winnipeg. Same thing. Winnipeg, good, but Vegas better. Vegas Golden Knights, 6 games, take out the Jets. What do you got in that second round matchup there?
I say Vegas. Colorado overpowers Vegas in 6. I think Vegas will be able to win game 1. Colorado gets 3. Vegas wins. Colorado takes over in 6.
All right, my second round matchup on the bottom of the West is Vancouver and the Oilers. I think Edmonton falls here actually. Vancouver's played good defense. They've had really good sound goaltending, and I like the depth of their team a little bit better than the Vancouver. I like the depth of the Canucks better than the Oil. So Oil second round exit, setting up a Western Conference final for me of Vegas and Vancouver. Chris, what do you got in the bottom of the West?
I say it's going to be Vancouver, Edmonton, just like you. I think Edmonton is going to win it in 7. Edmonton's going in 7, and I think Edmonton will be able to pull off the first 3 games. Vancouver bounces back, but Edmonton's just too much.
Okay, so you have Edmonton, Colorado in the Western Conference final. What do you see happening there?
I say Edmonton in 6. I think that Colorado. I think Edmonton will win 1. Colorado will win 2, and Edmonton will strike the rest of the series.
Okay, so My Western Conference final, I got Vegas over Vancouver. I'm taking the experience and the skill of the Golden Knights to defeat the skill of the Vancouver Canucks. I think the light's going to go on, and we'll see how accurate I am, setting up a Stanley Cup rematch of last year for Vegas and Florida. Chris, your Western Conference champion is?
Edmonton.
Edmonton. We knew that. We knew that. We knew that. All right. I'm going to go Vegas on the repeat. I think the only team that can defeat the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup, if the Florida Panthers get there, are the Vegas Golden Knights. If the Golden Knights do not make it out of the West and Florida makes it to the Cup final, Florida wins the Cup. I will triple down on that statement as long as Florida is in the playoffs, and especially if Vegas is knocked out. Chris, your Stanley Cup champion is?
Edmonton in 5. Set up, Chris.
Edmonton in 5. Oh, my goodness. Listen, Chris, to be fair, you said Edmonton is winning the Cup back in November. If Edmonton makes a run, I'll pull the clip and we'll tell everyone all about it. Chris has the all-Canadian final. So so Canada can't screw this up if it's Toronto and Edmonton, and they can get their first cup since, I think, 93 when the Canadians won it. All right. Woof. That was long. All right, Chris, let's jump right back to Vegas Golden Knights talk. Let's go quickly here. Put your phone down. There you go. Okay, put the phone down. All right. Adin Hill, Logan Thompson. Who starts game 1 and why?
I think Hill's going to start it. I want LT to start it because I think he'll be way better than Hill. But I have to say Hill. I don't think,
why? Why Hill?
I think Cassidy's guts tell him from last season that he should start. He said start Hill, although LT should start.
I think you are speaking for every single Golden Knight fan right now, Chris. I think most, not all, I think a lot of Golden Knight fans are looking at Logan Thompson's recent run, and why shouldn't they? Logan Thompson has been very, very good, possibly playing some of the best hockey of his career. In his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, looks like in his last 11 decisions, he has 9 victories, if I'm reading this correctly. His save percentage is .957, .926, a couple bad games with Arizona and Vancouver. But then .970, .975, .969, .955, .952. Very good numbers. The league average is .901, Chris, just so you understand what I'm saying right now. Adin Hill's numbers, 864, 875, 800. Good .923 against the Columbus Blue Jackets, a game he left injured, I believe. 800, 917, 867, 885. Okay. So Coach Cassidy has mentioned, does he go with the goalie that's maybe in better form, that's doing better, or does he go with the experience? That is Coach Cassidy's words, not mine. That's Coach Cassidy's words. I think Coach Cassidy is laying the tracks, laying the wood, if you will, that it's going to end up being Adin Hill based on what happened last year. Coach Cassidy made another statement earlier in the week. There's going to be some loyalty involved in his decision-making for who is going to play in the playoffs, and specifically game number 1. Going to be a lot of choices to make. Players like Brett Howden, Keegan Colasar, Paul Cotter, Pavel Dorofeev even. Those players are now on the bubble. There's only so many spots to go around if Will Carrier, if Anthony Mantha, if Chandler Stevenson are healthy enough to go. There's a lot of forwards that are going to be pushed out of the lineup, and Coach Cassidy is going to be starting game 1 of the playoffs most likely, well, not most likely, with a line that, or a group of 18 skaters that he has never utilized yet. So it's going to be very interesting to see how everything shakes out. But Chris, I am 100% with you as we get back to the topic that I think Adin Hill is going to be the starter. Logan's done so well, and I know he's not going to take it well. I know Logan Thompson. I know I don't know him as a person, but I know his compete level. I know his passion. I know how much he loves Vegas and how much he wants the opportunity, and he might get an opportunity. but only if Adin Hill falters. And Adin Hill may not. Adin Hill was pretty good last season, wasn't he, Chris? How good was Adin Hill last year in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Adin Hill, 6A. Roll tape.
Okay. No tape. This is where you actually go and get the Stanley Cup and put it on your desk right now. I was trying to set you up for that. So here's how good Adin Hill was last year in the NHL 2022, 2023 at the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Adin Hill has a large responsibility to that Stanley Cup that Chris just put on his desk, and hopefully he did not get anything else over. Logan Thompson hasn't dressed in a playoff game ever in his career. Ever. Logan Thompson may have had the opportunity to play or to at least dress as the backup, but it's rumored that the team opted to keep Jonathan Quick as the backup instead of Logan Thompson. Unconfirmed, but I've heard that from a couple people that I certainly trust when I make that statement. Sources. So we'll see how much trust Coach Cassidy has in Logan Thompson. If Adin Hill starts game one, I don't think the trust is there. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, Chris. So talked about the series, talked about our brackets, talked about Hill or Thompson. We'll talk about the Condor.
Roll the tape.
I have no tape. We went to the Silver Knights game last night. Chris had a good time watching the town crier blasting off on the Bakersfield Condors. Condor is an ugly bird. Every time the Silver Knights and Condors play, we hear all about it from the town crier, how ugly that bird is. And they showed it on the Jumbotron. But you had a fun time, right? You enjoyed the Silver Knights game last night, didn't you?
Offensive town crier.
He's calling the town crier offensive now. Offensive or offensive?
Offensive.
Offensive. Okay. All right. Town crier lost in the shootout to Lucky last night. That was also really entertaining. That was fun. All right. We are all done. Thank you so much to everybody. Long show. I knew that was going to happen. Long show today. That's okay. I want to say thank you to the everydayers that do check out Locked On Vegas Golden Knights Monday through Friday. Shout out to the super everydayers who check us out on Saturday mornings instead of watching your Saturday morning cartoons. Playoffs are coming up next Saturday. Chris will have already seen 3 playoff games. I think there's 2. I forgot if the Golden Knights play Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But either way, Saturday mornings, Chris and Chris edition is going to be interesting. We'll have some playoff games done, some series almost decided. It's exciting. It's playoff hockey. We're hours away. All right, we are all done. Thank you one more time. And I guess take care.